네, 안녕하세요. 프랑스에서 온 비비입니다. 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요. 제 이름은 제이번입니다. 저는 미국 사람입니다.
안녕하세요. 저는 스페인에서 온 위키라고 합니다.
안녕하세요. 코스타리카에서 온 서주라고 합니다.
Do you think Korea is a safe country? Just in general.
In general, yeah.
I
For sure.
personally.
Korea's safeness is just insane. Like you see people going to coffee shops, just putting their phones, leaving it there, and they trust that nobody will take it. That's insanity for me. Like,
I go out and like walk home by myself at 3 a.m. and I don't feel like scared that someone's gonna like attack me.
What about physical crime?
That's another story.
Yeah.
That's another story.
I actually think that it might have kind of high rate because of how much I hear about the hidden cameras. I kind of feel that they have a lot about that.
I heard you have to be careful, like if you go and stay at a motel or a hotel or
You have
something,
to check
like
the rooms.
there might be cameras, bathrooms, everything.
Yeah, insane.
Do you know what happened like recently, the incident?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we heard about it.
I read a couple pages, but honestly, like it was not a good feeling at all to read it. It was kind of triggering, so I was just like, oh my god, like.
And especially like, you know, I have a lot of young women in my family and things like that too. So of course, just feeling that while I was reading it was just disturbing, terrible. And then I studied psychology, so just knowing like how this traumatic event can affect, you know, somebody who's involved in it.
So today we're gonna talk about the nth room incident. And do you know who the room chaplain?
I don't know his name. I just know like
He's
that
the
they
doctor.
caught the doctor. Stupid.
So Telegram is the anonymous messenger. Do you know about it? Did you know about it?
I didn't know
No.
before this thing. I didn't know about it.
Same. I've never heard about it until
Yeah.
this incident broke out.
That users pay to see young girls perform like sexually doing something. And they distributed child pornography. So it got a really big issue in Korea. It's been like,
He's just like a 25-year-old
Yeah,
dude.
that was insane.
He looks so normal, which is even scarier.
I'm like, at your young age, like, what are you doing? Like, what happened to you in your childhood that you need to become like this?
I think that might have been the most shocking thing for me, like learning about this whole nth room thing. I expected this like older,
old man,
gross
like,
man,
yeah.
but it was a 25-year-old. I'm like, you know, you went to college, you're coming in your prime, and you're doing this on the side. And what do you need with this like
What do you
young
need?
girl or just, you know, torturing and
Oh,
the face is revealed. In Korea, they usually don't reveal the criminal's face.
you have to reveal it in this case. You have to reveal it. That's crazy. I don't want to walk in.
you're standing next to him in the grocery
Yeah.
store and you just don't know who this is.
I didn't know about Korean like law enforcement that they're not allowed to show
I didn't know as
the
well.
criminal's face unless it's like a really big danger to society. Because in our countries, like it's just a must. Like of course you should know they show like the mugshot of all the
Yeah.
criminals. You have to know their
So you
face.
can be careful
Exactly.
if you have encountered those people.
It's pretty much the same in the United States. Like something will come out and you'll kind of know who it is. Sometimes they don't release the names immediately, but as time goes on, maybe a week or so, just depending on the severity of the case, then we'll see a face. That way you know who it is.
And they put like sometimes in the news they put like A, B, C, like they call the criminals with like letters. And I'm like, why can't you just use their name? Like why do they need to be protected? Like they made like a huge crime.
So did you have any incidents like that in your country as well?
In America, I haven't heard any situation like this specifically, but of course we have like I said, we know that the dark web exists, so there are people who have been caught having, you know, child pornography or like some kind of like rape pornography on their computers or cell phones or something like that. And even celebrities have been caught like this. Like there was a guy who was on the show Glee, and I believe he got caught with like all this child porn, and then he went to jail for it, but he killed himself before he could really be tried because obviously he was guilty.
There was also like a really huge issue in Spain where basically 5 guys raped one 18-year-old girl, and they filmed it while doing it, and then with those videos they started sending it to like friends, and like they had like a chat. It was like the wolf pack
Oh,
and the
yeah,
La
I heard
Manada.
about it in
Yeah.
Spain.
And that caused like a whole social movement in Spain. So people started like going to the streets and like basically complaining about the legal system and how they didn't get enough years. So basically at first they got like 8 years, I'm not sure, but in the end they ended up giving them like 15 years.
If this similar, maybe the same thing happened in your country, what kind of punishment would they get?
At least in France, it's like, I think at least 7 years for like pedophile behavior. And then it can go to like 10, 15, 20, depending on like the severity of the crime. So yeah, it's can get to like almost life.
I know in the States, like it's different because we have our federal law and then each state has their own laws. But luckily, like something like this, like child pornography and stuff, is protected federally. I believe if you produce it, that's an automatic like 15 to 30 years, depending on it. Or if you are distributing it, it can go from like 10 to 20 years. But it also depends how old the child is, because child pornography can be anyone under 18. But I know like if the kid is under 12, it like it jumps all the way up there. And especially like if you go to jail for that, the police are gonna tell the inmates. And like
in the States, yeah.
Inmates are really protective over women and children. So like if you like beat a woman or like hurt a child, like they're gonna tell everyone in there and like
You're probably
it's
doing
done.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they deserve it too.
They deserve.
You're
of course they
taking
do.
something from somebody. Like even though these women and kids like didn't lose their lives, they like lost a part of themselves in all of this.
In my country, I think there is no like capital punishment. There is no like a lifetime prison. You just get a cumulative amount of years. For something it is, for sure, I think I would say like over 100. For like it varies a lot on the case, but in my opinion, like for what is going on, I think like over 100. Because like, there have been like one case of a rapist who raped like 4 women, and he got 136 years or 100 something years.
Oh my god.
Yeah, a lot.
If he was in Senegal, he wouldn't even have time to get to the police.
They would have got him. They would have got him right there.
On the street. It's not like we're not savages that are gonna, but in those cases, if you touch a
Yeah.
child and people know about it, it's gonna be, first of all, the family of the child is gonna find you and no one's gonna protect you because
Yeah, no
like,
one's gonna.
you're
yeah.
done.
They'll
They're gonna
jump
find you, they're
yeah.
gonna go up to your house,
They'll do
take you
whatever.
from your house,
Just in the street, like.
and your ass. Like, are you kidding? And then take you to the police and say and tell people, if you don't keep him in jail, we will kill him. Period.
It's kind of the same in the States. If you're at a bar or something, or just like out and you're like, oh, that guy's
People
a child
are gonna be like,
molester, he
"It's
did that,
him."
get him,
Yeah.
yeah. Especially like if your face is on the news and everybody knows about it.
I just know that if it happened like in Spain, people would be like on the streets right now. Like millions of people would be on the streets right now. The thing is, especially with sexual crimes in Spain, there have been more reports lately because people are getting more confident to like, you know, go to the police and like tell like what they have been through.
One of the criminals who has been selling and buying,
Like distributing and everything.
he got sentenced to 3 years and 6 months.
That's it?
I'm sorry? 3.
That's a joke. That's a slap on the wrist.
3 years?
Me too.
He got just 3 years
Oh my god, what the heck?
for distribution?
Yeah, that's way too low. Government or like the citizens, are they trying to like fight that? Yeah.
People are being so angry.
Of course.
Like if it's just 3 years, he'll probably get out and like do it again or be involved.
Exactly,
Like,
he's
it's-
gonna do it again for
Yeah.
sure, 100%.
that's not a hard enough punishment.
Yeah, like how the hell did he got just 3 years?
Wow, it's just so infuriating because like how can somebody get such low years like in prison for such an act? I just don't
Yeah, kinda
understand.
like the people, the victims were threatened, they were blackmailed, they're not doing anything they want. And yet like you just get like 3 years.
I think the legal system could use this case as like a wake-up call and say like, hey, these things are happening. We're letting this happen. Kids, if you do this in the future, you're gonna spend the rest of your life rotting in jail.
That's a good point because like if you just give 3 years to someone who did all this, if someone does something similar, you're just gonna think, okay, I got 3 years.
Like, what are they gonna learn from it? They're gonna leave prison and start doing the same thing.
And people protested and they signed a petition to release 6,000. The government actually reacted very rapidly as well.
Yeah, I read about it. Kinda good. So to show that the Korean people would actually react to this kind of behavior. Like they are not gonna keep silent. Like this is not gonna go underground. Like if something like keeps happening, the Korean people will always speak up about it.
I even see like K-pop idols like posting it, and usually K-pop idols kind of stay away from social issues. The fact that they did, like I think it was guys from EXO or whatever, the fact that they did, I think is a good thing, because all of their fans, like they spread it all around. Like international fans, everybody knows about it. The fact that it has also international attention is a good thing. I hope it will be bigger, because the more pressure the government has.
But for what I read, I kind of feel that the government of Korea did a pretty rapid job. Like they really reacted, they really listened, they really did what they can.
Because it's so big and so many other countries know about it now, hopefully this will get some sort of laws set in place to protect, you know, future victims from things like this happening, or people wanting to start rooms like this because they know these are the consequences now, not, oh, I can just get away, or, oh, it's only 3 years.
You know what I would do? I would say, hey, if you tell me all the people that were involved, I'm gonna give you 1 year in prison. And then he tells me, and then I'll be like, fuck you. 50 years in prison, bitch. Like, that's what I would do. I'd be like, you know what?